Cheers, guys. Epyx911, welcome to the Elitist Geek. A few things I want to talk about today. First thing, and I'm super stoked about this, I haven't been able to stop playing this game since it went live on Kickstarter, and that is none other than Wasteland 2. Wasteland 2 is everything I loved about classic CRPGs, and again, yes, I differentiate. I'd love to call everything an RPG, but any list I've seen of RPGs, they're usually generational lists. You get older guys like me, when you say RPG, while I'm likely to say Chrono Trigger, when you ask me the top RPGs, I'm going to go to influential ones like Ultima, Wizardry. That's my age demographic. Those are the games that I cut my teeth on. Bard's Tale, the Ultima series. You ask a younger gamer, and yes, they may be PC gamers, but by and large, you're going to get responses like Dragon Warrior or Final Fantasy. You're going to get the occasional person who goes both ways. Like me, I love both. But there are distinct differences between the two. Same genre, different subcategories, if you will. Japanese RPGs tend to be very linear, story-driven. You're usually playing the role of a child or a teenager, and throughout the course of the game, your character matures and you work your way into adulthood, so to speak. Western RPGs and computer RPGs, by extension, have typically been more free roam. Still great stories, you know, whether it's Baldur's Gate or games like that. Slightly less linear. Usually you have the freedom to roam. The extreme being something like Skyrim, right, where you can completely ignore the main storyline. The average type of game being more like a Neverwinter Nights or a Baldur's Gate. And then, you know, you get your extreme storyline examples of CRPGs as well that tend to be almost exactly like the JRPGs. JRPGs themselves were founded because of Western CRPGs like Ultima and Wizardry. That's history. I don't need to rehash it here. So, Wasteland 2. So for me, top 10 RPGs, yeah, you're going to find Chrono Trigger on there, but yeah, you're also going to find Ultima, Wizardry, etc. on there. It's going to be a mix of both. But that is why I say CRPG, because Wasteland 2, for me, brings back everything I loved about role-playing games in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, the graphics aren't state-of-the-art, but they're not terrible either. They're not just overhead squares or even isometric. Let's put it this way, the graphics don't hold up the game, or hold it back, I should say. The gameplay is fantastic. Yes, it has a linear storyline, but you're free to roam and do things off the beaten track. And turn-based combat, thank God. Turn-based combat has so long been a staple of CRPGs, and only, I would say, the last 10 years has it really changed to where combat in CRPGs is more real-time, which I don't mind. I love me some Skyrim. I love me Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate, at least you could hit the space bar. But my true passion, my true love is turn-based Western CRPG games. And in that respect, Wasteland 2 absolutely delivers. But more importantly, for Kickstarter, for everything that Kickstarter is and represents, Wasteland 2 is a success story. I was so disappointed with Tim Schafer. Couldn't fucking believe it when he came out and said there wasn't enough money. Whether it was scope creep or insert excuse here, I don't care. The fact is, he overpromised and underdelivered. And he's basically got a game that's half-assed and not too many people care about, and he's had to deliver it in 2 parts. I was fearful that the same thing would possibly or could possibly happen with Brian Fargo and In Exile, But really, I trusted my gut. And I don't know Brian personally, but I think I know enough about Brian that to know that his reputation is extremely, extremely important to him. His legacy, what he leaves behind in terms of his footprint on the gaming landscape, is extremely important to him. Yes, I was pissed off with early access, and I wasn't shy about that in my videos. I didn't think it was the right thing to do for him to offer the game as an early access because it screamed to me of funding issues. But true to what I said, Brian never once asked for more money. He used what was available to him, and let's face it, Kickstart support or no, Steam, Greenlight, and Early Access is a service that they offer. And he assured us it wouldn't impact the Kickstarters, the backers, and so far it hasn't. Now, you'd think I'd be pissed off in the sense that I pledged almost $300. I have yet to see a physical reward, and the only copies of the game that I've been able to access are the digital ones. You see, with my pledge tier, I got a collector's edition that's going to be signed, and I got 2 digital copies of the game. One digital copy I gave to a friend, one I've kept. But quite frankly, I'm okay with waiting because the game is that fucking good. It's definitely kept me busy. It's kept my attention away from where's my physical reward? Where's my physical reward? I have no doubt it's coming. I take Brian Fargo at his word. He's definitely delivered what I hoped he would deliver, and that's an old school CRPG. Contrast that to Neal Stephenson, who recently came out on Kickstarter to basically say that Clang, his sword fighting pet project game, had died. Now let's rewind a little bit. Neal Stephenson is a famous author. Many of you have probably read his books. I'm a huge fan. But I was skeptical even from the start. Here was a guy making promises in an area that he didn't really have any expertise in, and that's game development. Sure, he'd been involved in some aspects of game development in the past, but not really as a project head. So to throw that out as the main Kickstarter objective, a finished, polished game that takes sword fighting to the next level and makes it a more tactical, realistic experience, almost from the get-go, I could tell I had the feeling, the sense that he wasn't going to be able to deliver, that it was over-promising. I wanted him to succeed, absolutely. At no point did I want him to fail or fall on his ass, but I just had that gut feeling, you know, that he wouldn't be successful. And I'm in an unfortunate position to say I was right. He's apologized to the fans. He hopes, you know, he stated that only 17 people or so had asked for a refund, and he'd given them the refund. But my God, there were at least a dozen backers that pledged in the realm of $1,000+. In fact, I think there was a couple of $8,000 or $10,000 backers. Can you imagine how devastated you would be? And, you know, if it was a $10 thing, personally, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, you know what, there's a chance for failure and whatever. There's $10 I won't see again. But anything upwards of about $100, that would have left a bitter taste in my mouth. And it's definitely not the reputation that we're looking for. You know, those of us who support Kickstarter, we're not looking for that kind of negative press. Certainly don't welcome it. Certainly don't want to see it too often. But it is important because it should serve notice. If you're going to pledge for something on Kickstarter, you know, do some basic research, and most importantly, guys, do a gut check. If your gut in any way tells you to stay clear, trust it, because your gut won't lie. Your instinct is going to probably be bang on. And yes, I think he's going to deliver the physical goods, and Wasteland 2, absolutely. If you haven't purchased it yet, I can't plug it highly enough. It's absolutely fantastic. The combat is, put it this way, if Divinity Original Sin is what we were looking for in a traditional fantasy RPG, you know, something akin to a Baldur's Gate, then I can comfortably say Wasteland 2 is that same thing for the post-apocalyptic setting. It's absolutely nails it. In fact, my two favorite post-apocalyptic games are now Wasteland 2 and Borderlands 2. Totally different, but so synergistic with each other. Literally, I started playing Borderlands 2 recently, again, because of Wastelands 2. And I find I can almost effortlessly switch between the two games. One is a fast-paced action RPG with, let's face it, RPG light. And one is a turn-based, slower, more methodical, more tactical style game. Fantastic. They both have the same type of setting, and they really complement each other. As I couldn't recommend them both highly enough for a back-to-back gaming experience. Something that you could comfortably switch back and forth between. So let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Kickstarter failures and successes. The other ones that I'm waiting for, Project Eternity, and there's a Planescape Torment sequel, also through Brian Fargo. I'm comfortable with all of those. I've done my gut checks. I've done my research. They're all people who I think want to protect their legacy in gaming, and who, you know, like with Brian, I could almost picture if something would have happened, I could picture Brian basically sitting by himself with a handful of, you know, trusted friends, programming this himself just to deliver it. That's how confident I was that he would deliver because of his reputation. So let me know your thoughts on that. The other thing I want to share with you guys is, and I'm going to unplug it here, but is this product. This is the Xim4, and I'm going to do a standalone video on this. It's a fantastic device. Being a first-person shooter enthusiast, I love my first-person shooter games. They're probably third on my favorite genres. RPGs and strategy games are 1 and 2. I would say FPS games are easily number 3. What the Xim4 allows you to do is use a mouse and keyboard for first-person games on the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, or Xbox 360. It also works with several joysticks. So what I did is I bought a G105 keyboard, which is a gaming keyboard. It's actually one of my favorite keyboards. It's cheap. It's not the most expensive gaming keyboard, but it's awesome. My main mouse is a Funk for PC. All right. But for the PlayStation 4 and the Xim4 product, I bought the GS400, which I'm really happy with. I bought the G500 from Logitech, and I actually went through 2 in a row because the right mouse button had malfunctioned. And after that, I was kind of really hesitant to go with Logitech again, even though they'd never let me down with mice in the past. I went with the Funk, which I'm super happy with, but I thought I'd give Logitech another chance. Highly recommend the G400S. On-the-fly DPI switching, which for the Xim4 comes in really, really handy. Now what the Xim4 uses is Bluetooth, and you can basically use, right now it's PC with Bluetooth, whether you have Bluetooth built in via laptop or an adapter on a desktop machine, or an Android tablet. Doesn't work with Apple products yet. Something that they're working on, but they're having some difficulties with it. But if you have an Android tablet or phone, you can use an app called Xim Manager, and it basically lets you configure Xim-friendly games on the fly. So, for example, Destiny, latest PlayStation 4 game, which I'm really enjoying. I play with mouse and keyboard, and I can see the point some people have made and say, well, it's cheating, it's cheating. I don't think so. To me, it's just a peripheral, it's a choice. And honestly, any first-person enthusiast, first-person shooter enthusiast from the PC that stepped over to console gaming and tried it on a gamepad, The primary complaint isn't the gamepad controller itself for most of us. It's the fact that auto aim dumbs it down so much. It really does. With that said, it's not so much that it gives me a leg up on the people. For me, it's a comfort thing. You know, where possible, I turn auto aim off and just rely on the mouse and keyboard, because I hate that hand-holding feeling that auto aim does for so many games. Until you've tried a mouse and keyboard on Destiny, you don't realize how dumbed down that game is with its auto aim. It's actually, it's over the top. The amount of hand holding in the form of auto aiming is just, it's phenomenal. I mean, the hitbox of enemies is just huge. So no, I don't think it's cheating, but I can understand people who feel that way. And I don't go out of my way to go into PvP on Destiny, you know, and try to epeen myself to the top because I've got a mouse and keyboard. Because you know what, realistically, there's guys on the gamepad that could probably, you know, hold their own easily enough. And not only that, I don't claim to be that great with mouse and keyboard. Again, it's just functional. It's comfort for me. That's the bottom line. But it has allowed me to go back to games on the PS3 and the PS4, and I've got a massive library behind me that I can play all over again and enjoy, that I maybe ignored the first time around because I didn't like the feel of the gamepad. Some of the games that come to mind are Killzone, right? Killzone, what's the other one? Retribution? Just trying to think here. Killzone, Uncharted is a game, and Assassin's Creed. Just like GTA, I've gotten used to those on a gamepad, so I wouldn't say they're an issue. Or Red Dead Redemption, but yeah, Killzone, Resistance. That's the series, the Resistance series. I can go back now and I can play those with mouse and keyboard. In fact, I have started that. It's just a lot of fun. Same with Destiny single player, playing it with mouse and keyboard. So highly, highly recommend. $130. Configuration is on the fly. You can do it while you're in game. You can switch between games. Hasn't let me down yet. Fantastic. The last thing I want to talk about is the newest Oculus Rift dev, I won't say development kit, but the newest Oculus Rift kit that's been released. Or rather shown and demoed, and that's Crescent Bay. It's fantastic. It's got way more head tracking, motion tracking in terms of your proximity to objects in-game. You kneel, you're actually kneeling beside stuff in-game. It looks fantastic. And again, I can't fucking wait for the Oculus Rift. It's easily my #1 hardware lust purchase for the future. That and Star Citizen / Elite Dangerous. Oh my god. To play those here on a Vancouver winter, which, yeah, we don't get a lot of snow, but we still get some cold days. Open the window, turn the light off in the room, put that Oculus Rift on, feel the cold air coming in, to feel like you're in the depths of space. Nerd-gasm. Nerd-gasm. Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. Fucking jonesing. So do yourself a favor if you haven't seen it yet. Look up some of the Crescent Bay Oculus Rift videos that are popping up online. It's a bit of a longer video, guys, but I just had some cool things I want to talk about. Love to hear your thoughts on these guys. Like if you like this video. I'm not going to be offended if you don't like it, but if you don't like it, do me a favor, leave a comment below and let me know what you didn't like, so I can mix it up for the next video, or hopefully address it for you in a comment, or again a future video. And lastly, subscribe if this is the video type of thing that you like. I do this, I do game reviews from time to time, hardware reviews, etc. As always, guys, cheers, and get your game on.